Muted.
And cons and all of the everything in between with selling with RapidScale. So basically what we're doing here is you get all the benefits of kind of the standard Office 365 product bundles, but you also get the additional support. And I think that's kind of the key differentiator between Microsoft Direct and going with a service provider like RapidScale. Our support teams are here in the U.S., all English-speaking, very easy to get a hold of. There's no auto-attendant or call trees, anything like that. So when you dial in and need help with a service, you get RapidScale support engineers on the phone right away. So we do offer 365 solutions and a managed and unmanaged solution. So moving on here, as you guys all know on the call, at least 1 out of 5 employees use some type of Office 365 solution. We're finding that the majority of prospects are Microsoft customers in some form or fashion, so there is some type of an opportunity there. And a little over half of sensitive data in the cloud is stored in Microsoft document format, so making it kind of the dominant platform for businesses using today. So by comparison, the biggest competitor would be like Google Docs, for example. And then the average organization generates about 5.5 million events each month within Office 365. So that's logging into the O365 Microsoft Online portal, uploading a document, editing a document, etc. So we've taken kind of the overwhelming majority of the products available out there and bundled them, and it's very identical actually to the Microsoft terminology. So the first one we're going to offer is the Business Essentials version. So this is kind of the lower end package. What's included in that Office 365 Business Essentials bundle is a hosted Exchange mailbox, or they call it Exchange Online, so it's a 50 gig mailbox. They get Skype for Business. We can integrate with Active Directory if they have an existing Active Directory implementation. They do get a terabyte of OneDrive file storage, which is similar to like Google Drive, Dropbox, the other competitors out there. The big difference here with the Business Essentials is they get only the web version of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, meaning they can't download the installer and use it locally on their computer. This is very much similar to like a Google Docs, Google Apps type environment where you don't have a locally installed version of the word processing and Excel and PowerPoint software. It is a very low price though, so you may find in a typical organization there's a fair number of employees that may not need the installed version, and you can mix and match these different bundles. So the next one is the Business Premium, which is essentially the same thing, except they get the desktop version of Office 2016. So instead of only being able to use it in the browser, they can actually download and install a copy of Office 2016 on their local machine. So that's for offline use, people that travel. You can edit documents with the full-blown version of Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So moving on, Microsoft has adopted this concept of using these enterprise SKUs. So the first one they call is the E1 SKU, and this comes with the similar bundles that we just talked about, except this is the Skype is not just the chat version of Skype. They can actually do a broadcast meeting for up to 10,000 people. So think about like a WebEx or GoToMeeting functionality, and they have up to 10,000 people viewing that from the web. So it's a pretty powerful web conferencing type tool. They do get Skype for Business with the web and video conferencing for up to 250 people. So it's not just the broadcast meeting where you're allowing 10,000 people to view and what's going on in that broadcast, but it's actually a full-blown web and video conferencing, like similar to what we're doing today with GoToMeeting. And then they also get some e-discovery features, so they can go in and create custom searches within the platform to hold documents, for example, in a litigation hold type feature. So if they are going through any kind of e-discovery, it's very simple to hand that data over to an auditor or an accounting firm or an attorney. Again, here on the E1 license, it's a web-only version of Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and OneNote. So again, this is useful for people that don't always need access to that locally, or people that are in an office not traveling around. So the Office 365 ProPlus, the reason we're offering this one is really because RapidScale offers our own hosted solution, or our own hosted Exchange platform. So if a customer is an existing RapidScale customer, they're already on our hosted Exchange platform, but they want a copy of Office, this is the Office 365 package that comes without email. So you get all of the desktop and mobile apps, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Publisher, OneNote, Access, and Skype for Business, as well as a terabyte of OneDrive file storage, but it does not come with Exchange Online. This might also be useful for a customer that, maybe they don't have Exchange at all, or they don't need Exchange, but they want, Office 2016. So this kind of replaces that. Today, in our world, we would be providing that on a Microsoft SPLA agreement, and that's Office Professional licensing. So that's all this is here, is Office Professional without the mail. And then the next one in the Enterprise Suite is the E3, and this is kind of the most popular one for kind of that mid-market customer. The E3 comes with everything we've talked about so far, plus a few additional features. So they get unlimited mailbox storage and Exchange Online. They do get the e-discovery we talked about in the earlier package. They also get Azure Rights Management, which is really being able to deploy Active Directory inside of Azure and creating more of an identity access and single sign-on, things like that. It's a little more complex, you'll find in the enterprise type customers, hence the enterprise package here. You get the full installable copies of Office 2016 for desktops and mobile apps. Terabyte of OneDrive again, all of the Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Publisher, OneNote, and Access software. Still get the Skype for Business for the web and video conferencing, as well as the broadcast meetings and full Active Directory integration there. So the licensing plan, so this is kind of the cost, right? So this is the license alone cost of the unmanaged version, and we'll get to the next slide here, but you can see there that Business Essentials being the least expensive model at $6 a user. And then you go on up to the Business Premium at $13.50. The E1, back down to $9. That's because it's the web-only version of the Enterprise bundle. The ProPlus being the version with all the software but not the email. And then you've got the E3 license there at $21 a seat, which is basically all of the solutions that are available. The one thing you'll note here is Microsoft does have an E5 license. The E5 license basically is everything we talked about, but it also comes with Skype for Business with PSTN access, which is basically the phone system version of Skype. RapidScale is not a voice provider, and we don't have any integration points with voice, so we chose not to offer that bundle to our clients. But we find the customers that want or need that, we find there's plenty of good partners out there for the voice integration that have been doing this for years and years and years, and we're happy to partner up with any of those voice providers if you come across an E5 opportunity. Support plans. So we include admin support for free. So we're not going to charge a customer if their IT director or IT engineer wants to call us and ask our engineers for any advice, guidance, support, having a problem with some sort of implementation issue. So we call that admin to admin support. We do that across the board in all of our product lines today at no additional charge. So we're planning to do that as well here for Office 365. So that's a popular if you've got a customer that has IT staff and they don't want to pay for for the extra end-user support. So that takes us to the end-user support option. So this is very popular with clients that outsource everything. They don't have any IT staff, or maybe they use a local MSP on occasion, but they don't want to, call them every time they have an issue with, Outlook or Excel or something like that. So we will take the actual end-user support calls. So if the secretary or the accounting person or the executive wants to call in and maybe they need help configuring email on their iPhone or whatever the issue may be, we'll take the actual end-user support calls directly into our help desk. And that is a $4 per month per user fee. That's the one scenario where we're not going to mix and match on that, guys. So it's important to know you can mix and match any combination of the other licenses. So if you have, 50% of your employees need the E3 and maybe only 20% need the E1, and then even less need just the ProPlus. We can mix and match those, but either the whole customer is paying for end user support or not paying for it. So it's important to note there. Real quick, we get this question a lot. I'm sure you guys probably get it a lot as well. What's the difference? Why should I buy, Office 365 from you when the customer can just go to Microsoft directly? So we took kind of upon ourselves here to notate, the major differences here in the support model. So you're a small business, you have a critical issue with Office 365. So that's the non-enterprise licenses we showed earlier, so the ProPlus and the Essentials and Business Premium licenses. They're guaranteeing a 1-hour response time for a critical level ticket. On our case, we're guaranteeing a 15-minute response time. If you go to a high priority level, using Microsoft's terminology here, business hours only. They're not going to take the call after business hours, and there is no commitment on response time. So they may answer the phone and say, great, sorry you're having a problem, we'll call you back at some point in the future. And then the medium level priority, same thing for Microsoft. For us, we're going to do a 4-hour response time on that. And then low priority, we'll do next business day, 24/7, except the call. So low priority might be something like, they're having problems with the printer driver from Word, something like that. And then moving on to the enterprise, we're not changing our stance on small business versus enterprise. A customer is a customer is a customer to us. So our thought on that is if it's a critical issue, we're responding in 15 minutes no matter which license you bought from us. Again, you can see there Microsoft's doing 1 hour across the board on critical, but then next business day on high, and then business hours only on medium, and there is no low for Microsoft. So it's pretty important to note, guys, Microsoft will tell you directly that they're not great at supporting the kind of the SMB to mid-market customers. They're really focused on supporting those enterprises of 10,000 seats and up. Here's another really important topic is migrations. So assuming they already have Exchange, whether it's on-premise or hosted somewhere else, customers are free to do their own migrations. There's plenty of tools out there that, a savvy IT department can use to migrate this stuff. Obviously, we're not going to charge for that if they're going to migrate it themselves. We find, however, that most customers don't, or maybe they do have the IT people, but they just don't have time to work on a migration. So we actually have a full professional services bench here in Irvine, California that does Exchange migrations almost on a daily basis at this point. So we do charge a one-time fee of $25 per mailbox or per user. That doesn't, one thing that comes up here is what about shared mailboxes or shared folders or anything like that? We really just care about the individual employee here, the actual user, not any shared resources. So for the migration fee, you can just multiply the number of licenses that were on the price list by $25, and we'll do a full migration. So that we build out the entire tenant inside the Microsoft Online portal. We migrate all mail, contacts, and calendars for every user that's provisioned. And that is turnkey. We can do that migration within the customer's maintenance window, and typically it's an overnight process, and they're back up online with the new solution in the morning. During that time, they don't lose mail, they don't lose access to mail. They're really, the only interruption to the end user is when they have to reconfigure their Outlook client or their smartphone or tablet to switch over from the old Exchange configuration information to the new information. And so one thing I did want to bring up, it's not necessarily pointed out in the deck here for the partners on the call, is we obviously this somewhat competes and somewhat cannibalizes our own hosted Exchange product. It's already come up multiple times this week on calls with various partners. You know, when should I quote what? How should I quote? You know, what do I need to know? Like, what's the difference between your hosted Exchange and Office 365? It's a pretty short list of responses to those questions, guys. You know, our hosted Exchange is deployed on our hardware and our data centers across the U.S. and it's in a fully redundant model. So when we provision a mailbox, it lands on at least two data centers geographically separated and load balanced. That's the big difference there, is we're offering 100% SLA on our hosted Exchange service because we control the environment end to end. And it's fully redundant with no single points of failure. The Microsoft SLA, just for everyone's reference, for our Exchange Online is 99.9%. So it doesn't sound like a lot, you know, it's 1/10 of 1%, but that is a fair amount of annual downtime that Microsoft can have without actually providing any type of SLA credits back to the end user. So in our case, as a managed Office 365 cloud provider, when they go down, that doesn't give us any priority over anyone else. When we call in and ask what's going on, they're going to tell us it's down. We'll let you know when it's back up. So that's really the main difference between Exchange Online and hosted Exchange through RapidScale's Cloud Mail solution. And then related to the Office suite, we do still and can still provide Office licenses on a per-seat basis outside of Office 365. And really the main difference across the board is the commission payouts. There's very little margin in Office 365. If you've quoted it or talked to any other provider that's offering it, you'll hear the same thing from them as well. This is one of those solutions where every customer is inquiring about it, so without not offering it, it kind of eliminates you from the conversation. At least if we offer it, we can have the in-depth conversation with the customer to determine which solution is actually best for them and their long-term strategy from a technology perspective. So with that said, there should be addendums with your master agent, or if you're a direct partner of RapidScale, that outline those commission payouts. So I just wanted to make sure everybody's aware that there is a reduced commission for these solutions. With that said, we can open it up to any questions. If anybody on the line has any questions or comments or anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to know more information about.
Hey, Dwayne, it's Mark. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, sir.
Well, hey, guys. Sorry about that technical difficulty at the beginning here. That was Mr. Dwayne Barnes, our Director of Solution Engineering, who has a great technician. When I got stuck and I couldn't get on and kick it off, Dwayne jumped in and took over it. So love having Dwayne as part of the team. And I'm going to just throw in a couple of comments, Dwayne, that you touched on, but I think are important for all of our partners to hear on the call today as well. The big piece here, guys, is Office 365, Microsoft. They are the 800-pound gorilla in the space. We understand that we've had multiple requests over the last 12 to 18 months about why isn't RapidScale providing this service. And we saw that a lot of our competition was, so we decided to jump into the pool as well. Dwayne touched on it. The biggest differentiator here is going to be the level of service that we provide to your clients. And it does come at a cost, of course. And unfortunately, it's going to impact you as well with regards to how much money you make. We're all here to make money. And Dwayne touched on that. So just so you guys know, Our commission tables have been updated to our master agents, or they're in the process thereof. So whomever you're working with, or if you're working directly with us, feel free to shoot me an email. This is, of course, Mark Sikowski. And we'll make sure we get you a copy of those addendums so that they are updated within your own organization as well. Yes, the question came up here, and Dwayne, I don't know if you can see these questions as well, but I'm going to have you take the good technical ones because I can't open that window now. But yes, guys, as always, this webinar is being recorded. Everybody who is an attendee today, you will have a copy of it emailed to you within 24 hours. It will also be up on the new and all-improved partner portal. If you haven't gone to the new partner portal, I highly recommend you check it out. You guys will love it. We've added more and more documentation, as always, a lot of co-branded literature in there for you, tons of stuff on blogs, your own email. Drip campaigns are available for you to co-brand and throw your label on and jump right into a distribution model to get it out there to your customers as well. Dwayne, did you see the did you see the question that came up? Because I can't see it around. Any additional cost of migrating a customer from Google Apps?
I did not see it, but there would not be an additional cost. It would be the same here. If for the mailbox migration, it's still going to be $25 per user, and then the apps, there's really not a migration there other than copying the files over.
Fantastic. Summer, if you don't mind, could you go ahead and take a look at the rest of those questions and go ahead and read them to Dwayne and I? I think he's in the same position about not being able to see it and pull it all the way down.
Yep, can do. So first of all, we have, if the customer wants the E1 license, is everything hosted on Microsoft's infrastructure, while for ProPlus and E3 deployments, is it all hosted on RapidScale's infrastructure?
Right. So that's a good question. So for the licensing for the Microsoft suite outside of Hosted Exchange, it does not have to be installed on our infrastructure. Those licenses can be installed wherever the end user actually has. So for example, if they're a desktop as a service customer of RapidScale, then of course it would get installed. We would publish those out to the desktops with that end user for that customer. But if they have their own local copies or local workstations or servers, they can be installed on those. It does not matter where they're installed at.
Perfect. And a simpler question, what is the cost for managed exchange alone?
So managed exchange alone is $4 a month per user.
Perfect. Can we migrate existing Microsoft customers to RapidScale?
Yes. Yes. So that is actually a good question. So I think I'll dive into that one a little bit more. So if they're already an Office 365 customer, we would have to look at their agreement and when it was signed and what their expiration date is on that agreement, because there's a lot of people out there trying to do paper swaps on this service to get credit for it. Because at the end of the day, if they've gone with Microsoft directly or through a cloud service provider, they're 12-month renewable agreements. And so a lot of people are out there just trying to ask when their agreement's up and move that from one provider to another. What I would say is it's not worth the time to go down that path for the minimal commission that it would actually pay. And it's not worth the hassle to the end user customer to go through that process to get the exact same service at the exact same price. Is it possible to do? Yes. On a bigger opportunity, would it make sense? Possibly. So feel free to bring those to us kind of case by case. But in general, I wouldn't make a business plan out of asking 20 and 30 seat customers to switch from one provider to another. It's just not worth the hassle.
Awesome. This is kind of a follow-up on the first question. You sort of touched on it. Do the mailboxes sit on RapidScale's infrastructure, like the multi-tenant environment, or do they sit on Microsoft?
So for Office 365 that include Exchange Online, the mailboxes sit in the Microsoft cloud. If you're selling ProPlus, for example, where it does not come with Exchange and you want to sell that with our hosted Exchange, it would sit on our infrastructure. But Office 365, all the components that we just talked about in this presentation are sitting in the Microsoft Cloud.
Perfect. And then, does billing come from RapidScale?
Yes, billing would come directly from RapidScale.
And how is that billed? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's billed just like any of our other services. So as soon as the customer goes live, they get the invoices cut that first day there, just like the rest of our services would be.
Awesome. We had a lot of questions today, but I think that was the last one.
Looks like one more,
Right.
Summer. How does sub-agent we get access to partner portal? Would channel manager or master agent do this? That's a fantastic question.
Yeah, you all can reach out either to your channel manager or just shoot me an email at marketing@rapidscale.net, and I will get you set up with access to our new partner portal. It's hosted on the RapidScale website, just so everything is really seamless and in one spot for you all.
Fantastic. Well, you see, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you joining our 2016 webinar series. We are coming to a close. We just knocked October out. So we do this every year. If anybody has any suggestions on what they'd like to see in the November and December webinar series, please feel free to send those to us. We try to keep the content new and fresh, so that we're not, overkilling anything, and certainly don't want to bore anybody. So if there's something in particular that you'd really think that would benefit the community and yourselves, go ahead and send an email to Summer, or go ahead and send it to your channel manager or to me, and we'll take a look at it. And if we find a nice topic that we think will be enjoyed by the community, we'll certainly put it out there. We have a lot of changes here happening at RapidScale, all positive. More and more products are being rolled out on a quarterly basis. Again, super excited about Dwayne Barnes joining the organization a couple of months ago. Dwayne, as most of you know, is a channel veteran. He's been doing this for quite some time. So if we need to get into a technical deep dive with one of your customers, I would argue that we've got one of the best resources available in the channel to jump on those calls with you. Dwayne is based out of the East Coast, for those of you who don't know. So we've got that East Coast coverage on any of those calls as well, and just in case you needed something. And again, if you have suggestions for future webinars, please feel free to send an email in. We'd love to cater to the community and bring stuff up that others would like to see. We appreciate everybody's attendance today, and that's what happens when an engineer runs a call and not a sales guy. It gets done effectively and quickly. So 30 minutes back to everybody. Have a great October. End the year strong. Have a great fourth quarter. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing everybody during the fourth quarter. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Everything will be on the portal, and if you are an attendee today, you will get an email with the slide deck as well as the recording. Anything else, Summer?
That's all. Thanks for wrapping it up, Mark.
As always, I want to thank Summer for being on the call and keeping it all rolling like she does so well. Again, thanks, Dwayne, and thanks for all the attendees. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.